I've reached the land of corn and wine, and all its riches freely mine. Here shines undimmed one blissful day, for all my night has passed away. O Beulah Land, sweet Beulah Land, as on thy highest mount I stand, I look away across the sea, where mansions are prepared for me, and view the shining glory shore, my heaven, my home forevermore. Few songs are better known or more extensively used than Beulah Land, so wrote Dr. Haldor Lillianus in the year 1950. The inspiration for its writing came because of a very unusual place. Let me tell you about it. Among some of the earliest memories of my youth are the visits taken to the Methodist camp meeting community of Ocean Grove, located on the Atlantic coast in New Jersey. To my young mind, it was hard to comprehend there was a building as large as the Grove Tabernacle. It seated around 7,500, and a huge organ. Why, it made thunder and lightning as Clarence Common played the storm. A very unique experience also was to suddenly see the cars, which were so prevalent during the week, all disappear on Saturday night and not reappear again until Monday. This regulation has now been done away with by protest vote, not by the camp meeting people, but by unsympathetic people who through the years moved into the area. I'm very sorry about this, because it was a wonderful reminder that Sunday was different. It was the Lord's Day. Families walked together to church, and there was no hurry to leave the service. In fact, the great auditorium was the focal point of activity, and the spiritual banquet served there far surpassed anything the world could afford. It was here that we learned and sang for the first time many of the gospel songs which today are our everyday favorites. It was here also that I met personally and heard great missionaries and preachers. I first heard Gypsy Smith preach and introduce his song, Not Dreaming, at Ocean Grove. It was here that I first heard the energetic former baseball champion who became a champion for Christ. His name, Billy Sunday. At the time I was not aware of a man named Edgar Page Stites, but at the Grove we sang Beulah Land often. It would be years later before I found out who he was, and that he was the author of this song. My Savior comes and walks with me, and sweet communion here have we. He gently leads me by his hand, for this is heaven's borderland. O Beulah Land, sweet Beulah Land, as on thy highest mount I stand, I look away across the sea, where mansions are prepared for me, and view the shining glory shore, my heaven, my home forevermore. Edgar Page Stites' ancestors had come over on the Mayflower and had eventually settled at Cape May, New Jersey, where he was born in 1836. The first 20 years of his life had been rather uneventful, but in 1857 something wonderful happened. He was saved in the Great Revival, which started in Philadelphia and swept across America. It is often called the Awakening of 1857 and 58. Stites immediately became involved in service for the Lord, joining the Methodist Church of Cape May, and became a local lay pastor. Eventually became a home missionary, starting new churches in the South Jersey area. Around the year 1870, Stites, along with other Methodist ministers and laymen, founded the Ocean Grove Camp Meeting Association. The association had acquired a considerable amount of acreage on the ocean shore, and felt it could be developed into a summer spiritual retreat for the people of the many Methodist districts surrounding the Philadelphia and New York City areas. This it proved to be, and far beyond their expectations. By 1875 it was already developing into a city of its own, with its many tents, neat summer cabins, and even homes of a permanent nature. To many, including Stites, it had become a little foretaste of heaven. A sweet perfume upon the breeze is borne from every eternal trees. I have to sing that again. I'm not sure what that word is. From vernal. Ever vernal. Okay, I'll start over. A sweet perfume upon the breeze is borne from ever vernal trees, and flowers that never fading grow. Boy, I don't know how that verse goes. Alright, maybe I'll just save the rest of the song for after the story. From the beginning, music played an important part of the services at the Grove. Because of this, it attracted as regular attendants such names as Kirkpatrick, Sweeney, Fanny Crosby, Hewitt, and others, all known as writers of gospel hymns. It was the means also of encouraging others to try their God-given talents in writing new songs. Edgar Page Stites was one of these. He wrote his first set of words in the summer of 1874. This was sent by a religious editor at the camp meeting to a newspaper in Chicago. It was published in the spring of 1876. They were in turn given to Ira D. Sankey, who then wrote the music for Trusting Jesus, That Is All. The Grove Summers, as he called them, had become the highlight of the year for Stites, and this he enthusiastically proclaimed throughout the year, wherever he went, inviting others to share in this experience, which was so much like heaven, words could not really describe it. It is no wonder, then, that to Stites the train seemed to be almost standing still as it chugged its way from Cape May toward the Grove, a distance in those days of at least 150 miles in travel. The meetings of 1874 had been mountaintop experiences, and what did 1875 hold? Stites could hardly wait. It was after the first day of meeting, and he was back in his cottage, that Edgar Page Stites, with a full heart, would contain his thoughts no longer. "All this in heaven too," he exclaimed. He then began to write, aided by the light of a kerosene lamp. "I've reached the land of corn and wine, and all its riches fully mine. Here shines undimmed one blissful day, for all my night is passed away. O Beulah Land, sweet Beulah Land!" Higher and higher he soared, far above the mundane things of the world. He was seated in the heavenlies. For years, Mr. Stites' his songs were published using only his first two names. That is, Edgar Page. It was also done at his request, for he felt if he were known as a songwriter, it would dim his work as a preacher. This request was honored until after his death in 1921. Alfred B. Smith. "And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth." Revelation 14:3. All right, I'm going to give verse 3 another go. "A sweet perfume upon the breeze is borne from ever vernal trees, and flowers that never fading grow, where streams of life forever flow. O Beulah Land, sweet Beulah Land, as on thy highest mount I stand, I look away across the sea, where mansions are prepared for me, and view the shining glory shore, my heaven, my home forevermore. The zephyrs seem to float to me, sweet sounds of heaven's melody, as angels with the white-robed throng join in the sweet redemption song. O Beulah Land, sweet Beulah Land, as on thy highest mount I stand, I look away across the sea, where mansions are prepared for me, and view the shining glory shore, my heaven, my home forevermore."